الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر.
Why is it that we often find ourselves feeling so much stress? It is because we do not fully surrender ourselves to Allah's will. We want a bit of Islam and a bit of culture. We want a bit of the politician, a bit of the nation, the boss and the wife, even if against Sharia, obey her but never against faith. And a bit of the children too, trying to please everyone. Even if she commands against Sharia, listen to your wife, but not in matters against Sharia. And a bit of the children too. So when one has so many gods to please here, there and everywhere with thousands of beloveds, how can a single heart manage? We possess just one soul, yet we have created so many masters. It inevitably brings the same overwhelming stress that a man with 4 wives would experience. Don't you agree? What do you think? You think of pleasing her and her and her and her, but you essentially have 40 million wives to satisfy, whereas the man with only 4, it's just 4. Right? He has to please the boss too, and he also has to please the entire family, and he has to please the surrounding culture. So a man who remains constantly busy trying to please so many different things and people will certainly find himself totally exhausted in this world, will get every worldly blessing except for true peace. But he who makes Allah his only goal, and to hell with the rest, you know what I mean? Do you have any idea what the very first benefit for him will be? Just imagine the peace that would come to his heart first. Joy. The first benefit will be that happiness will fall right into his lap, and when the devil stresses him out saying this one is against you, that one is against you, one thing gives comfort. Do you know what the greatest comfort is? In this world, the greatest sorrow is singular and the greatest joy is one. One thing brings the most intense pain to a person. It is the very concept of that thing to a person. Its concept. And that same thing, if you fix your lifestyle, its concept will bring you the most joy, that is death. Do you understand? What is the greatest sorrow in the world? That we must die. If someone told us today you won't die, we might just die of joy. A certain man won a big lottery. The talk is almost over now. This man won a massive lottery worth a staggering 1 billion rupees. The company that held the lottery said, if we tell this man all at once that you've won 1 billion rupees, then from joy he might actually die. So they decided to hire professional psychologists to go and break the news very slowly so that his mind wouldn't snap from the sudden shock of the wealth. Wouldn't snap. So the doctor went to him. They had hired a top specialist from America who has successfully treated some of the most severe psychiatric cases in the world. Severe cases. And told him to break it gently. That doctor, acting like a great philosopher of the mind, went and said to him, look, just suppose for a second. If you were to win 10 million rupees, what would you do? You haven't actually won yet, so don't get too excited. Just imagine the possibility. So the man replied and said that, I will do this and I will do that. If it were me, I would have mentioned getting 4 marriages anyway. So the doctor then said, all right, guess what? You've won 10 million. What? Won 10 million? Yes, you won 10 million. But wait, one more thing. What if you won 100 million? So he led him on like that, and slowly he reached 1 billion. He said, if you won an entire billion, what would you do? He says, I would give you half of it. The doctor was gone, dropped right there. The doctor suffered a massive heart attack out of sheer joy because of the money. You get it? So what I'm trying to say is that even excessive joy can be a burden. What exactly was I saying, man? Sometimes I try to wrap things up, but then I get sidetracked by these stories. You really should help keep me focused on the topic. Yes, I was talking about the reality of death. I will end this talk now. So the concept of death is typically the greatest source of stress for humans, but listen closely. The concept of death is also the greatest possible way to end your stress. If you choose to see it that way, otherwise death remains the biggest stress. If someone tells you that you will never have to die, then will you die or not? Out of pure joy, you would literally die of joy. Even though he came specifically to tell you that you won't die, you would still die of joy. That is how much relief one would feel, knowing they won't die. However, the greatest stress for a person right now is that one day we must die. That is why people avoid graveyards and go to markets. They avoid looking at the dead or washing them. They're afraid the same will happen to them. But the ultimate remedy that Allah has given us to end all this stress is actually what? It is death itself. The simple fact that this world is just a temporary inn. Are you truly understanding this or not? The Quran says, let not the worldly life deceive you. Don't let this life trick you, for it is something that eventually ends. Usually, a person does not give much importance or weight to something that is bound to end one day. This concept brings such peace that, based on this, people sacrifice their lives in the path of Allah. The death the world flees from, they go and embrace. They think, if I must die tomorrow, why not today? I might live 30 more years, but I'd rather die a blessed death. This is the very spirit that compels a person to willingly embrace martyrdom in the path of Allah. If it were ever known to the world that there is no such thing as death, then the mosques would be empty. Do you understand? People would lose themselves in wine and indulgence. This concept of death is a great stress, but it is also the definitive way to escape an even greater stress. So, whenever you find yourself facing hardships in the path of your faith, if you face such hardships, comfort yourself by saying, it will all come to an end, brother. Just think of all the noble prophets who came to this world before us. We can never be superior to the prophets, can we? Even those prophets left the world. They must have felt a deep sorrow that everyone was standing against them, though who could possibly care more for a people than their own prophet? No one can be a greater well-wisher, but those prophets must have thought, we return to Allah and they must return too. Allah will eventually judge who was right and wrong. For a Muslim, look, we are taught a prayer for grief that reminds us of death. Whatever sorrow comes, we belong to Allah and to Him we return. The matter is settled. Whether one is happy or whether one is sad, it is temporary. Someone is angry, someone is happy, someone causes stress, one humiliates, another honors. One shouldn't boast when honored, for how long will they honor you, brother? After the funeral and burial, they will forget within days. Such great elders came to this world who were highly respected. People absolutely adored them. They wished that the whole world would perish as long as they remained alive. Yet they still died, left the world behind, and that was the end. So brother, the honor of this world is simply not worth boasting about. It will all come to an end eventually, my brother. So why do you feel the need to act superior? What is the need to think beyond your reality? Right? And even the humiliation here is such that one shouldn't stress, just as one shouldn't be swayed by pride, nor does he fall into deep depression. And especially those building big houses with so much steel and thick pillars, I tell them, do one thing first, then build all you want. Go stand in a nearby graveyard and say, I used so much steel, but where will I end up soon? Your funeral bier will leave from that very house. So make the house practical for living. But then the same point arises. People say, your own home is truly yours. It is, but it really isn't. The issue is they say, Mufti Sahab, you don't know one's own home is truly one's own. I said, brother, I'm not as foolish as you. Think I am. Before we go any further, first you must prove to me that this house actually belongs to you. So how exactly is it yours? Just take a look at the funerals passing by, my friend. We have seen it with our own eyes many times before, haven't we? When a house is finally built, people offer prayers saying, may Allah let you live in it. They say this because so many people build houses but never get to live there. Even the children for whom you built it won't stay. They'll just fight over it. They'll be at each other's throats. So build it, brother. Who is stopping you? Don't get attached and don't show off saying it's my house. It disgusts me when you say my house, my house. I say enough, friend, enough. You put so much steel in it. You haven't put any iron rods in your own bones at all. Even if you lived in a hut but had strength in your bones, it'd be better. So build. If Allah has given you plenty of money, then build your house. But remember, this is all nonsense. In preaching, it's taught there are two types of soil. Preaching is now advancing too, brother, and English is starting to appear everywhere. I once heard an imam praying, oh Allah, please solve all our problems. This is a completely true story that I witnessed. So I said to myself, man, in the next 10 or 20 years, it will be solve all the problems. This will be the ongoing trend, with English-Winglish words finding their way into our prayers everywhere. English keeps coming in, so it's the same here. Yes, fallen soil. Preachers say there are two types of soil, standing soil and fallen soil. Fallen soil is this. Standing soil is what has been turned into buildings, my brother. Allah says that everything will be left as a level plain. One earthquake will come and all your grand buildings will become fallen soil, right? What will they become? So no need to get too cocky. I'll just tell a joke and end my speech. This getting cocky reminds me, it was a mouse's wedding, no, a lion's wedding. He said no low-class animal should attend. To anyone who says, my house, my bungalow, my car, tell them this joke. You should tell them this joke. So there was a lion's wedding. He distributed the invitation cards and told the fox, listen, hand these out, but ensure no lowly animal from a disgraceful family attends my wedding. Everyone else is welcome. The cheetahs may come, the tigers may come, and the wolves may come. They are of noble birth. No low lives should be allowed. Now, as the wedding procession is underway, the lion is the groom, yet a tiny mouse dances nearby. The lion spotted him and thought, interrupting now would ruin the wedding atmosphere. Let the procession finish first, then I'll deal with this. He summoned the fox, grabbed its ears, and said, did I not specifically tell you? No low-born or disgraceful creature should be here. What is this mouse doing at my wedding? The fox caught the mouse and brought him before the king. The lion roared, aren't you ashamed of yourself? What are you doing at my wedding? The mouse replied, there's no need to get so high and mighty. Before I got married, what was I? I was a lion. You'll end up just like me in a few days. So, to all of you with your mansions and cars, those in the graveyard whose bodies are now infested with millions upon millions of maggots, just try digging up a grave after 3 days and look. A man would say, no, I cannot bear to look. You were doing so well, my friend, what happened? You should tell them, brother, these were all very powerful and prominent people. Eventually everyone will come and lie down here in a state far worse than that of a mouse. Even a mouse at least has some standing, doesn't it? That is why death is the greatest remedy to relieve all your stress. Whenever you are faced with any kind of grief, brother, just say, it will all be over in a few days. Everyone will be lying deep inside the ground. Therefore, there is no reason to take any stress at all. Always give stress to others. Never take it upon yourself. Borrowed money from someone and feeling stressed? Just pass it on. How? He comes for the money, you say you don't have it, then the stress instantly, what happens? All of that stress will be transferred right over to him immediately. This bit was a joke. The mouse story holds truth. May Allah grant us wisdom to understand and act upon these important lessons.